where we think about this communion of saints, this cloud of witnesses, as Hebrews calls it, and that this cloud of witnesses is always with us, travels with us, just as that cloud traveled with the Hebrews as they were looking for the promised land. But it's also a day where we remember those who we've lost, people who have died, not just recently, but throughout our lives. Some of you have seen me show this metaphor before, but given the loss that we've all experienced in this last year in the midst of the pandemic, given the losses we know people have experienced right here in this community and in the communities around us, I want to share this metaphor that life is like a box of dominoes. So each one of us has a box of dominoes. Each one of us has all the parts of our lives that we've been building up, no matter how long we've lived, whether it's 3 years or 70, 80, 90 years, we have been building our lives. And each one of these dominoes is a part of who we are. That it's really our identity, what makes us who we are. And I want to tell you a little bit about what kinds of things might be in this box. So we might have our family. We might have friends that make up this box. It might be what we've done for a living or what we do for a living. It's our gifts and our talents. It's the mistakes we've made, the people we may have hurt. It's the things we like to do for fun. And right in the middle of life, I know you weren't expecting that. Did she do it on purpose? Yes. And right in the middle of life, someone dies. So everyone take a deep breath. Because everyone here today has had more than one of these moments where your life as you knew it will never be the same. And how do we feel at this moment? Some of you are feeling this way right now because this metaphor has brought those feelings back up. Some of you feel like this on a regular basis. For some of you, this feeling is raw and real right now. So I'm standing in the midst of this mess of what my life used to be, and grief is something that's messy, and grief begins when those dominoes fall. Sometimes it's a diagnosis. Sometimes it's losing your job. Lots of things can make our dominoes fall. How much time, congregation, should I get to pick up my dominoes? How much time? Shout it out. What do you think? What? The rest of my life. Oh, I knew you guys were a nice crowd. I should get as much time as I need. Don't you agree? As much time as I need. But how long will it be until someone starts to time me? Yeah, it's real, isn't it? How long will it be until I start to time myself and say, time's up? When we go through major losses, it takes time for us to pick up these dominoes. So I might reach down and pick up my family, but are they going to go back in the box the same way? I might pick up my God domino. For some people, that goes right back into the box. For some people, it goes back in differently. And for some people, it takes a while to put that back in the box. Some of our friends will go back in the box, and some just won't know how to support us in this really difficult time. So as we pick up our dominoes, we're going to feel this grief. So if grief is this way, grief is two things. It's painful and it's normal. Every human being, when we go through any kind of major loss, we're going to have grief. And if our grief is this way, my grief, which way do I want to go? That way. That way is painful. As human beings, we don't like to go towards pain. The only way I'm going to go this way is if I have people to walk with me that way. People who will stand with me right in the middle of the Dominoes, in the mess. Now, how many of you were way more comfortable with me when my Dominoes were in the box? That laughter means, yep. Way more comfortable, because we feel awkward. We're literally walking around on dominoes, especially in this culture that's so uncomfortable around grief. So we want to think about how we today, on this All Saints' Day, where we remember this beautiful cloud of witnesses. Think about those names up there. All those names on those stained glass windows. If the quilt was up here, all the hands that made that quilt. Everyone here, this communion of saints is all past believers, current believers, both here and around the world, and all future believers. And what do we need when we walk this journey of grief? We need that cloud of witnesses to come and walk alongside us, to be with us in the length of time, not the sprint, but in the marathon that it takes to take one step and to pick up this life and rebuild my life after a major loss. And I think that similar to the light in these stained glass windows, when we're surrounded by that communion of saints, that light can come into the darkness of our grief. And we feel less alone in it. It doesn't take away the pain, doesn't make that disappear, but it gives us the ability to have people there with us as we bear that grief. And I think of the words Ed Carl, our previous minister, used to talk about thin places. Today is a thin place where those who have died feel incredibly close.